Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from the business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Wicky Adrian. This is Market Headlines. The government will continue to use government Sharia securities as an instrument for infrastructure financing in 2021. The finance minister stated that hundreds of projects worth 145 trillion have been financed by government Sharia securities in 2013 to 2021.
Government Sharia securities issuance can be instrument to fulfill state budget financing. Moreover, Finance Minister Sri Mulyani said that the number of projects that is using government Sharia securities fund this year is even increasing. Previously, there was only one institutional ministry participated through government Sharia securities funding in 2013, but then it went up to be 8 ministries in 2020. And even better, Sri Mulyani said that for 2021, ministries participating in government Sharia securities funding again increased to be 11 ministries, so that the total value of infrastructure project financing since 2013 has been financed has reached 145.84 trillion rupiah.
Itu meningkat lagi menjadi 11 kementerian lembaga dan nilai pembiayaannya secara akumulatif sudah mencapai 145,84 triliun rupiah. Volume ini tentu akan menyebabkan Indonesia makin memiliki posisi di dalam global syariah financing karena nilainya makin signifikan.
Even there were many halted projects in 2020 because of the pandemic, Finance Minister hopes that ministries still keep the quality over the projects. Jakarta, Rahajo Mamo for IDX Channel.
There are many ways to fund infrastructure projects. One of the ways is using government securities. Specifically speaking, Finance Ministry targets 27.57 trillion rupiah from government Sharia securities to fund infrastructure projects in 2021.
The Ministry of Finance in 2021 targets infrastructure financing through government Sharia securities to reach 27.57 trillion rupiah. Director General of Finance and Risk Management, Lucky Alfirman, explained that as many as 847 projects spread across 11 institutional ministries will receive financing from government Sharia securities issuance.
Adalah sebesar 27,57 triliun rupiah dengan jumlah proyek mencapai 847 proyek yang tersebar di 11 kementerian lembaga dan 34 provinsi.
In detail, there are about 40 land, sea, and air transportation infrastructure projects at the Ministry of Transportations worth 5.66 trillion rupiah to be financed. Besides that, as many as 148 road, bridge infrastructure projects worth 10.53 trillion will be also financed. There are also 69 infrastructure projects for flood control, dams, reservoir, as well as management of main urban irrigation and drainage worth 4.23 trillion will be financed. There are still many projects that can be financed through the government Sharia securities. Jakarta, Rahajo Pakmo for IDX Channel.
According to plan, the National Food Estate will be completed in April 2021. So far, there has been around 200 hectare land will be ready to be harvested by February. The Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, has asked that the roadmap and action plan for developing a national food estate. He underlined the need to accelerate the completion of the master plan that contains the roadmap and the food estate action plan as a guide to unifying activities and funding so that it can go according to plan, which will complete it in April 2021.
Ini tanggal 12 Januari, lahan terbuka dan sudah siap tanam, dan 72% dari lahan tersebut sudah ditanami dengan bawang putih dan seterusnya. Kemarin saya kebetulan ke sana, tim melihat itu berjalan. Ini juga kita lihat, jadi seperti Kementerian PUPR sudah juga membuat reservoir untuk kapasitas 1.000 meter kubik, dan sudah
On the other hand, traditional market traders in the capital city of Jakarta and its satellite cities such as Bogor, Depok, Tangerang, and Bekasi announced a mass strike following the recent rise in food prices. Indonesian Traditional Market Traders Association said that this action may lead into market chaos.
Chairperson of Indonesian Traditional Market Traders Associations, Abdullah Mansuri, said that the circulator of the strike has reached him and the Trade Ministry has been informed about it as well. The association warns that the strike can lead into market chaos. There will be negative impact to supply and demand because the supply will be lesser.
Ini bagian dari bentuk protes pedagang terhadap susahnya kita menjual daging dengan harga yang sekarang. Harganya cukup fantastis dibanding bulan-bulan sebelumnya, di kisaran sekitar 120 sampai 150. Sedangkan kalau kita lihat di bulan-bulan biasa, walaupun tinggi nih, walaupun permintaan tinggi, itu biasanya nggak sampai 114, 111 sampai 125 tertinggi. Kita dilema memang karena sudah punya langganan rutin ya, yang warung rumahan, ya, warung padang, warteg dan seterusnya itu pelanggan rutin, pedagang bakso itu pelanggan rutin. Nah, ini jadi persoalan tersendiri.
Moreover, Abdullah said that the rise in food prices, especially meat, has been happened a routine cycle that happens after Christmas and New Year. He argues that people's buying power had not covered yet during the pandemic, and the fluctuations of the value of the food and beef itself is felt harder by traders. From Jakarta, Rizka Ayu, IDX Channel.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Saya Prisa Samodatu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri.
Welcome back. A number of challenges and uncertainties still overshadow Indonesia's economic recovery in 2021, including the COVID-19 pandemic and structural reforms that must be carried out by the government.
The COVID-19 pandemic remains a major challenge for national economic recovery and growth in 2021. The government is considered to be able to take advantage of the pandemic to carry out structural reforms properly. Economist Teguh Rifki say that the main challenge for the Indonesian economy is the COVID-19 pandemic. This can be seen from the public and government who are waiting for the good news from the vaccine and the belief that the vaccine can restore everything. Nevertheless, Rifki emphasized that the existence of vaccines cannot directly solve economic problems. On the other hand, Rifki said there were several countries with recovering economies, such as China and New Zealand. The key to the economic recovery of the two countries is in managing health. The government is also urged to be more serious in dealing with health this year. Meanwhile, Core Indonesia's research director Pital Abdullah said that the economic recovery will want if the pandemic subsides. However, the biggest challenge is how the government can take advantage of the pandemic to carry out structural reforms. Previously, Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani said that structural reform was an attempt by the government to improve the foundations of the Indonesian economy. The government will use various tools such as state budget together with structural reform tools. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
With the looming challenges and uncertainties, what is the forecast for Indonesia's economic growth in 2021? Is it able to return to pre-pandemic levels or still at a low level? Let's just discuss further about it in the following infographic. We're going to see the first graphic today. The first one is Indonesia's economic growth of Bank Permata's projection. 2021 from 3 to 4%. And the key drivers are household consumption improvement, vaccination, and handling of COVID-19 will encourage economic improvement. Export performance improved in line with herd immunity in trading partner countries. And in terms of risk, reenactment of large-scale social restriction policy, the level of investment is not yet solid. Bank Permata Chief Economist Joshua Pardede said that the handling of COVID-19 is still a central issue that needs to be handled better by the government, and at the same time, the vaccination program needs to be accelerated in terms of procurement and distribution so that it will encourage herd immunity. Apart from that, in terms of economic policy, Joshua says that the government needs to remain focused on boosting the productivity of government spending, including a national economic recovery program that is more supportive of the demand side of the economy, given the weak condition of the purchasing power of low-income people. In addition, refocusing the budget for priority matters such as vaccination can be optimized by reallocating expenditures for non-priority infrastructure to be allocated for vaccination programs and support for the demand side. And what about the other projections? Let's see on the next graphic. This is Indonesia's economic growth by Standard Chartered Bank's projection. The projection assumption: global central banks maintain accommodative, better mobility in line with large-scale, accommodative fiscal and monetary policies. And 2021, it is projected that Indonesia's economic growth will reach 6%, and 2022 will reach 5%. And Standard Chartered Bank estimates that the global economy in 2021 will grow in the range of 4.8% or improve from 2020, which contracted by 3.8%, although the economic growth forecast is far above the global average growth over the past 10 years of 3.7%. This year's recovery has not completely closed the gap due to the COVID-19 crisis. Meantime, Standard Chartered Bank Indonesia senior economist Aldiantalo Putra said that better mobility in line with large-scale vaccines, accommodative fiscal and monetary policies, and low basic effects are likely to support Indonesia's economic growth in 2021. He also sees a more meaningful recovery will occur in the second half of 2021 and 2022. He added that the launch and distribution of vaccines will increase consumer confidence and generate demand in slumping sectors such as tourism, trade, and transportation. And Next, we're going to see the projection of Bank Mandiri in the next graphic, in the third graphic to be exact. Bank Mandiri projected Indonesia's economic growth will reach 4.4% in 2021. The assumptions and key drivers. The first one is the COVID infection curve can be controlled. Global procurement and production of vaccines will improve the performance of the global, and improvement of various policies in handling COVID-19, fiscal and monetary. And Director of Treasury and International Banking of Bank Mandiri, Panji Irawan, is confident that the Indonesian economy will recover this year. He estimates that in the first quarter of 2021, the Indonesian economy can return to positive growth. This projection is based on the assumption that the COVID-19 infection curve can be controlled, where the implementation of health protocols must be tightened. Panji added that the projection of economic growth in 2021 is also supported by improvements in various government policies in handling COVID-19 over the last few months, particularly in fiscal and monetary policies through various stimulus to the economy, real sector and banking. Then the ratification of the job creation law also shows the government's commitment to create a better and more conducive investment climate in Indonesia. And the last factor is an improvement in the prices of Indonesia's main commodities such as CPO, coal and rubber, which will boost the economy in some of the commodity producing regions in Indonesia. After we hear the projection from some banks, how about the government's projection? Let's find out on the last graphic. This is Indonesia's economic growth finance minister's projection. In 2020, minus 1.7% to 2.2%. In 2021, the ministry projected that Indonesia economic growth will reach 5%. The key drivers of it, or we call it the indicators of the projection, is the development of the COVID-19 case and the vaccination process, investment and exports to grow throughout the year. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani projects that this year's economic growth will only rebound in the second quarter. It is because in the first quarter of 2021, the economy will still be under pressure as public consumption weakens due to social restrictions imposed by the government. The minister is optimistic that in the second quarter, economic growth will not experience a contraction as deep as the same period last year. The government hopes that the economy will continue to improve until the end of the year. And however, the minister said that the COVID-19 vaccination will determine the leap for domestic economic recovery. The effectiveness of vaccination is believed to increase the confidence of the people, especially the middle upper class, to consume. And hopefully all the efforts made can accelerate the national economic recovery this year. And of course, we hope that the pandemic will end soon. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
IDX Channel, the Indonesia Stock Exchange channel, is the authorized capital market channel in Indonesia. To give references to global investors, IDX Channel also presented the news about the dynamic of Indonesia's economy, business, and capital market in English. IDX Channel also have different types of programs. They are Special Dialogue, Market Opening, Market Review, IDX First Session Closing, IDX Second Session Closing, Market Headlines, and News Screen. IDX Channel is aired 24 hours a day with 5 hours live program from Indonesia Stock Exchange trading floor. Our vision and mission as the only capital market TV channel in Indonesia that is committed to improve the capital market knowledge in the country. News that had been delivered on IDX Channel can also be seen on our digital platforms, so you can give yourself an update about informations anywhere and everywhere. IDX Channel can be watched through Vision Channel, First Media Channel, IndiHome Channel, and Vision Plus, and also live streaming on idxchannel.com. IDX Channel provides information from around the world from different perspectives. We provide you various investment strategies, stock options, inspiring figures for your business references. IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel.
We're on the last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. Earlier today, JCI was open at the level 6,334.51. Then approaching the closing time of the session, the index was on the level of 6,404.83. That index was showing strengthening trend, but second session closing time index was closed at the level of 6,429.75. In short, JCI went up 1.71%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got mining as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 5.54%. Basic industry went up 2.9%. Finance went up 2.44%. Meanwhile, consumer goods went down 0.48%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. ANTM went up 17.71% to the level of 3,190 rupiah per share. BRIS went up 14.42% to the level of 3,650 rupiah per share. BBRI went up 5.84% to the level of 4,890 per share. And TINS went up 12.81% to the level of 2,290 rupiah per share. And this is the top losers for today's trading. We got BBKP went up 0.75% to the level of 665 rupiah per share. KF went down 2.04% to the level of 4,810 rupiah per share. Enough went down 5.09% to the level of 4,660 rupiah per share. Unilever went down 2.31% to the level of 7,400 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,065. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. It was close at the level of 14,058. In summary, rupiah went up 0.33%. Recently, there are investors that want to enter the stock market but don't necessarily have the capital and end up taking out debt to invest stocks. As it went viral, the Indonesia Stock Exchange urges the public for not to using funds from debt or loans to invest stocks in the capital market.
This is in response to the viral complaints of a number of investors on social media who claim to have lost when investing in stocks. In fact, these funds comes from the loans from other parties. As it went viral, Hassan Fauzi, as Director of Business Development of IDX, said that IDX sees this as an unfavorable phenomenon. IDX always remind the public and investors that investing in stocks, besides having a potential of providing good returns, also carries the risk of loss. And therefore, Hassan reminded investors not to be overly confident and oriented towards pursuing maximum profit in the short term or instantaneously. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Unilever Indonesia stated its readiness to assist the government in distributing the COVID-19 vaccine, especially in the vaccine cold chain.
The government will collaborate with the private sector to cooperate in distributing the COVID-19 vaccine cold chain. One of the companies involved is Unilever Indonesia because it has a supply chain specialist that the government needs. As it now, Unilever has ice cream business line so that it has experience in cooling machine storage networks to the regions. Ira Noviarti, President Director of Unilever Indonesia, said that the company had met the Health Minister Budi Gunadi Sadikin regarding the vaccine distribution plan. Regarding that, Unilever stated its readiness to support the efforts to overcome the pandemic, in this particular case related to the implementation of the vaccination program. Previously, Health Minister Budi Gunadi Sadikin explained that the government is collaborating with the private sector to cooperate in the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine cold chain to overcome the distribution and storage capacity constraints of vaccines that occur in the regions. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia targets lending distribution in 2021 to reach 1,000 trillion rupiah. Regarding this, the President Director of BRI, Sunarso, emphasized that the target is still rational, even though more effort is needed to achieve it.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia targets lending in 2021 to penetrate 1,000 trillion rupiah. This target for lending increases by 120 trillion rupiah from credit realization in 2020, which reached 880 trillion rupiah. President Director of Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Sunarso, said that the lending distribution target of 1,000 trillion rupiah this year is a rational target and will be carried out with various efforts, including the distribution of core amounting to 152 trillion rupiah, the distribution of micro and ultra micro credit and credit in the corporate sector.
Jadi kalau ditantang untuk nambah 120 triliun supaya tembus 1.000 triliun, sementara kita akan menyalurkan kur 150 triliun, maka saya jawab peluangnya achievable. Begitu, jawabannya begitu. Ya, peluangnya achievable, tetapi pasti dengan effort yang luar biasa. Jangan terlalu mudah juga bikin target. Kalau terlalu mudah itu bukan target namanya.
Sunarso added that the credit growth this year is not only influenced by interest rates.
And step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situation. Here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market lines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.